Hey, here we are, everybody. We're making eggplant parmesan today in a frying pan. This is the greatest way, in my opinion, to make it, especially in the heat of the summer. You don't got to turn on that oven and get your house all hot. You put it in the frying pan, you cook it right on the stove with the blower going and the heat's going out, and it's done very quick. We're going to do this all in real time. It's not going to be like all these pauses in here and a big long operation. We're going to do it in real time. Show you how quick and easy it is. If you watched my video, the greatest guy ever knew, Pasquali Palmariello, how he grew tomatoes. Well, Pasquali Palmariello, the greatest guy I ever knew, this is how he'd make eggplant parmesan at home. And I wouldn't recommend this if you're cooking it for a wedding, but we're not cooking it for a wedding. So let's start off with our eggplant. My last big eggplant of the year. Here's the little runt of the litter, but we're not going to be using runty today. Okay, first off, I've already washed this off, but I'm going to cut this end off. And if you watch it on TV, what they do is they cut these things pretty thick, in my opinion. I don't cut them as thick. That's totally up to you. I like a thin slice. This is not the best knife, but it's a knife I just like to use. And I cut these rather thin. I'm not going to be making a lot because my wife's out of town taking care of the daughter, like I says. And so this is just for me. And this is, kind of like good if you want to have this and you don't have a whole bunch of people to make it for. Let me tell you something else. You can make all kinds of different types of Parmesan. But an eggplant right now costs about $1.57 a pound. This is a little over a pound. I'm going to make probably 8 slices out of this. I can probably, so I can do this twice. Ground beef, I don't know, you wouldn't probably use that for like a hamburger Parmesan, but you could, I guess. That's around over $5 a pound unless you're buying the real cheap stuff. Anyways, you take these slices and you throw them on paper towel, and they'll say to leave it for about an hour to get the bitterness out. And you put salt on them, and that will draw this like liquor or whatever you want to call it that's in the mouth. But when you cut them thin, you don't have to wait as long. After that sits, it'll draw the moisture out of them, and you will then wash them off. And if you have them real thick, then it will take longer. So while that's doing that, other two things I insist on is onions and raw garlic. You get your garlic, you break them open and you take them and you peel them. And I like to finely chop stuff like this up. So we're going to chop these up real fine right now. I like a lot of garlic. Again, this is, you do it to your taste. Some people don't like garlic at all. Or they don't think they like it, and they don't know a lot of times they're eating it inside of, something that they bought or got at a restaurant. But I just chop it all up. I'm going to get it a lot finer than that. This stuff's pretty strong. It can make your eyes tear up too, like an onion. I see a lot of people, you can get used to this stuff. You can eat it raw. If they say it's real good for your heart and everything, it's good for you. All right, we got this going on. Now I got my onions. I'm going to cut up one of these onions. Same thing, I'll slice up. Then I put in water. You soak it in water, and it does take some of that gas out of them. And you'll have a lot less tears. Some onions are better than others. And, I don't know why. I don't know if it's when they pick the time of the season or the type of the onion, but sometimes you'll get an onion, and oh my God, it'll make everybody in the house cry. And then there's times where you'll have onions and they won't bother you at all. But as you can see, I got a pretty good amount of onion here, but to me that's what gives it a really good flavor. And so we're going to dice this, you know, chop it up, mince it up, whatever you call it. And now we'll go in the frying pan there, and I'll fry this up with oil along with these. Now you saw, I've only had this going now for a couple of minutes. And I'm not going to wait because I'm doing this in time. But, you know, I could have started it a little sooner, but I got the camera going. But I've cooked it before without doing this salt trick to them. And I didn't seem to find it that bitter. Matter of fact, I didn't even notice. I didn't even pick up on it. But maybe that's because I didn't bake it. And I fried it instead in nice old-fashioned olive oil, you know, virgin olive oil even. So you got that in there like that. And that's basically it. We're going to take it over to the stove now. We're going to start frying this up with these. So I got to pause this for a minute and readjust the camera here. Okay, we're over at the stove here, and as you can see, we got that working. I put in a good amount of this here olive oil, because we fry up those sliced eggplants. That's what does it. All right. I mean, they haven't even probably been soaking for 5 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead. You can see, well, you know what time I started this, so I'm going to wash them off. Quick wash. I'll throw them back here. Cold water. And all right, take these, throw them right in the pan. We're going to cook this completely right here in the pan. It'll be finished. It'll be a done deal right here on the stove in the pan. And if it tastes lousy, I'll tell you it tasted lousy. I did this the other day with one of those runty ones, actually. When I say runty, I'm talking about I had some runty eggplants. And I used them all up. I cut them actually thinner than these. These are, to me, kind of a little too thick. I like it like that. Okay. Now, we're going to turn on the heat. I'm going to put this exhaust on. Sorry about that noise, but got to get the heat out of the house. Turn that on. You know what I was getting at is, I am actually starting to look at ways to cut corners too, and if I can buy myself and feed myself, and maybe even healthier by cutting down on meat. And I'm not going vegan, don't get me wrong, but cutting down on different products and eating more of something else. The eggplants might be better for you. I really don't know. I plan to do that. I'm going to, you know, check it out. What if people say these things are good for you, bad for you, or nothing for you? I'm going to find out. Okay, now when I'm cooking stuff like this, I kind of like using a wooden spatula. Uh-oh, there's one of them crazy cats. I don't know if you can see her walking around. Maybe. Hey, you, that's Lulu. Yeah, see, there's Lulu. She got an attitude. All right. Now this is on high. Pretty soon it'll start sizzling. Now this is going to probably shock you, but I've got a secret ingredient that's what makes this pop, you might say. But you won't see the secret ingredient till right near the end. Now here's my other secret ingredient. Now, Pasquali didn't use ragu. He'd make his own spaghetti sauce. But in this case, I'm not going to make spaghetti sauce for one person. I'll get a couple meals out of this, and I'll serve it on a plate on the side with spaghetti and pour some sauce. Now, I think you can see that thing sizzling away. It's starting to, cook. I don't know how many minutes we're in, but, this is really the way I like it, thin like this. You see how that's cooking up quick? And the thicker pieces take a little longer, of course. But we're just going to flip them around and, put that heat to them. Now they call it eggplant Parmesan, but I'll top it off with provolone. And I will put Parmesan on the spaghetti. And the Parmesan I'll use is just, your shaker type. Probably is Kraft, I don't know, but you buy it right at, your local grocery store. I buy them in bulk. Well, 2 big ones at Sam's. And I'm not getting, Sam's isn't sponsoring me. Nobody's sponsoring me. And I'm not looking for sponsors. I just like doing stuff and trying out new things. But I remember watching him do this back in the old days. I'm talking like 1969, 70. I'd be watching him cook on the stove. And I had never had eggplant Parmesan before. I'd heard of it. I thought somehow eggplant sounded like, I'm not going to eat eggplant. But when he'd cook it, the smell of that garlic and onions, I'd be like, that smells good. And then you get the spaghetti sauce going and all that, and next thing you know, man, I want to try that. And I had it. He used to sometimes actually add bologna, slices of bologna in there. And the bologna was another, I'm going to call it a secret ingredient that made it really pop. So if you like bologna, think about that. Kind of like, lasagna, when you're making a layer of this and bologna slices. Alright, now I'm going to turn this down a little bit. This stove runs very hot. I can turn this way down and this thing still, this burner, no burner on this stove acts alike, I can tell you that. I like a gas stove. I think they're the best to cook on. And a regular old electric stove with the burners on them. These type flat tops, they're okay, but I think gas is the way to go if you got it. To me, you can really adjust the temperature. Here, it's guesswork. Electric stove is, I think, more accurate because, this thing here, the temperature, it varies. I don't know why. One of these, I can't remember which one, you turn it all the way up. I think it's that one. And it takes forever to get a little pot of water going. Alright, this is going to be a little longer. I like to cook them till they're, they're clear. They're transparent. Not transparent, but you know what I'm saying. I hope they look, you don't see no whiteness in them. You can get a little brown on them. And of course I don't want the onions and garlic to burn up. It's okay because to me I don't mind it if it's nice and brown. I guess if you had a taste for it, you could throw in, I'd say, a red bell pepper, chop that up with it. The green ones to me are more bitter than the red and yellow ones on the bell peppers. Hey Pasquali, what's happening? Alright. I'd moved the camera. The little Lulu cat sitting on the table staring at me. Let's see. Lulu, what are you doing over there? You learning anything today? Yeah. Those cats, they're smarter than you think. They just lazy. They don't want to do any work, but I think they know how to if they have to. Nowadays I see this what do you call it? AI videos, and they show cats doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Alright. Don't want this to drop. Alright. Turn that heat back up a little. It's sizzling. We're about ready to add in my super secret way to make this thing a hit. So simple, so simple. I looked on YouTube just for the fun of it, and I didn't go through the whole thing. There's a whole lot of people showing how to make eggplant parmesan. People, I seen one woman, and she had almost 2 million views, and people with hundreds of thousands of views, but I didn't see anybody doing it like this. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I didn't see anybody doing it in a frying pan. They all threw it in the oven, and I didn't even bother to see how long they said to leave it in the oven. I'm going to crank this up, give it one more good heat wave. Heat wave! Remember that song? Hey, Master Baked. We're talking about Martha Ray and the Vandells. And Heatwave, I think they put that one out too, if I remember right. I could be wrong. Master Baked, I know you like to cook, and I love that Kaiser that you've got. I can't believe it. I am so jealous of you. This guy that I basically talked to through YouTube, he just bought some property, and it came with a 1954 Kaiser car. And the car, it had to been garage kept, and I think he rolled it out. But I was sitting there looking at it because it had a flat tire. But that car looks beautiful, beautiful. Those were really cool looking cars, and they got a great history. Kaiser Frazier wasn't around for a real long time, as an auto manufacturer, but was one of the guys who was like the president. He had worked, he'd been in charge of Graham Nash, I think it was the Graham Automobile Company. The other guy, Kaiser, he built ships during World War II. He built roads. The guy was an industrialist. He was just, the two of them combined looked like they were going to be, have the big brand new car of the year. I think Kaiser had the first car out after World War II. But they didn't last that long. I think by 56, I think was their last year. I could be wrong, but they just didn't make it. Okay, that thing's getting pretty hot now. I think I'll take it off the stove. And now, I'm going to show you a secret ingredient. And this is it. Croutons. Throw that over there, and you take these croutons and just crumble them up. I did wash my hands. If I wasn't doing this like this, I wouldn't be doing it. I'd have them in a bowl, I'd do it right, and I wouldn't make a mess. But because of where we're at, I don't want to change things around. I'm going to do it the messy way. My wife isn't here. I'll clean it up. She'll never see the mess. I do believe in clean as you go, too. I hate to leave a mess. A lot of people, they'll cook and they'll leave everything in the sink, and the dishes get all the food particles dry on the dishes, and it just turns into, and then nobody wants to go near it, I was a cook in the Army. I had 2 MOSs in the Army, but the cooking, I wasn't crazy about cooking, but it just came pretty easy to me. And that was a big thing. You had to clean as you go. You never, as you were cooking, you were cleaning. And it makes sense with everything. You're working on a car. When you're done with the tool, put it up, put it where it belongs. If you don't, and next thing you know, when you get done, you're so tired, especially if it's a long, big job. When you get done, you are too exhausted to put anything away, and you leave everything out, and you lose stuff, or stuff walks away. And it's just not the way to do it. Okay. Now, I'm going to stir these around. Ooh, I got them a little too cooked, but I'll eat it. I don't mind stuff, but that's why I got lost when I had the heat up too high for too long. I tell you, it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't making the video. And I'm gonna throw a little bit more crumbs on there. A little more oil too. Whoops. I let it get a little too dry. Now, when I throw in that ragu, you think, well, that ragu, ain't the greatest, but that's why I got those extra onions and that raw garlic in there. But when you put raw garlic, fresh, real garlic, and you mince it up and add it into stuff like this, it makes all the difference in the world. It's way, way better than, like using just that powdered garlic stuff, which I've got. I actually like that. I use it a lot. Right here. I use this stuff a lot. But the fresh stuff is really the best stuff. Alright. Now I would, these here croutons, if I was not doing this like this, they would be all powdered up. There wouldn't be any nuggets in there. It'd be all powdered. Now, got that like so. I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to add a little more oil. And about time to put the spaghetti sauce on here. Might look messy to you, but we're not eating, it doesn't matter. Something can look fantastic and not taste that good, and then on the other hand, something can look a little bit messy and taste really good. Alright. Throw the spaghetti sauce in there. Sauce will, of course, sink into those nugget, croutons and soften them up. All right. Now, the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some provolone on this. Let's get that provolone. Wiping my hands off, cleaning as I go, you might say. I won't waste that paper towel either that I had those eggplant slices laying out on. Yeah, great value, great value. I find the great value cheeses to be actually, you know, very satisfactory to me. Alright. Dealing them up. Call this here 5-card stud. Now, what I like to do, I'm going to warm it up just a tad. And I'm looking for a cover. Ah, I know where it is. This is probably my favorite cooking pot. I cook popcorn in it. I made popcorn just the other night. I take my popcorn, pop it in coconut oil, and I put a lot of coconut oil in there, and the popcorn, it pops up. Then I add salt, and I put in, you know, a pretty good chunk of butter that I melt. And you mix the coconut oil with the butter and the salt the way you like it salted. Oh man, oh man. That's it. You could say, you could eat this really right now. In a few more minutes you could eat this. So, start to finish, that's how long it took. Whatever this time is at right now. Give this a couple more minutes just to simmer down. You know, get that, basically to get the cheese to melt out some. Without it getting too hot. I don't want to, you know, cook. I'm really mad at myself that I let it get, you know, burnt, because normally I wouldn't have that happen, but I'm still going to eat it. And of course I'll boil up some spaghetti. I like angel hair spaghetti. That's what I use all the time, and you're going to laugh. There you go. What can I say? Golly. But yeah, angel hair spaghetti. And I'll have more sauce on that angel hair. And I'll shut that off. You can see it's sizzling in there. And there's enough heat with this pan lid that will melt down. Yep, smells great. Then after you stir, you know, you can add salt if you want, or pepper, or whatever you like. You could chop up jalapenos if you wanted. I like jalapenos. Except my system doesn't like them as much anymore. In the old days, you could eat a lot. Even the spaghetti sauce gets to me. You know, I get heartburn now from it. I drink milk with it. Everybody, I will leave a message in the content. You know, I will leave a thing, you know, where I'll say how I liked it, and I will make a short that I'll put up showing a plate of this with me cutting it, you know, and showing it and tasting it with the spaghetti on the side. That'll be coming up shortly. Everybody, thanks for watching, and, you know, like and subscribe and share. Everybody, have a great day. Oh man, that cat's running around. What's she doing? Come here. Where you go? That cat, she's hiding there. There she is. Come here, you. She loves to run behind this curtain, and then I let her out. Come on, you can go out. Do you want to go out? All right, go out. Bye-bye.